Hello everybody, this is your host Diana Valencia, and very soon we will be listening to the second delivery of special interviews from the little pretty town of Exeter, especially for you, for the podcast Post La Verdad in Colombia. This time we'll be talking about a slow, sustainable, short food change initiative of the University of Exeter called Veg Share. And I just wanted to make sure to send to say hi very quickly, very briefly to some special accounts in Twitter in Colombia. And of course, first of all, to @Post La Verdad. Thank you guys for this opportunity to share with you this series of interviews with different people from different backgrounds and different cultures in the world, taking advantage of the fact that we are here in Exeter. I want to say hi very specially to Javier Ruiz @Contragodaria in Twitter, hopefully. I wanted to say that we hope that the account will be functioning again very soon. As you probably know, Javier was victim of censorship in Twitter, and I just want to say that from Exeter we support him completely and that we entirely disagree with this censorship by Twitter. Also, hi to Don Andrés Balaguera @JABOO8 in Twitter. To the Maestro Edgar Arroyo, composer of the jingle of Post La Verdad, @Ed_Ari with Y in the end in Twitter. And to the designer of Post La Verdad logo, David Ospina. You can find them in Twitter @David_Ospina. So here I give you a second interview, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, really. So see you later, guys. Bye bye.
La entrevista.
Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon or good night, depending on the time of the day that you're hearing this mini podcast. This is your host, Diana Valencia, from the beautiful city of Exeter in the southwest of the United Kingdom. You can find me in Twitter @DianaLowlineVal, all in capital letters. And we're doing another special delivery for the podcast Post La Verdad in Colombia. Today we have a very special interviewee with us, Margus. He's coordinating an initiative called Exeter Veg Share, and he's going to talk us about it. What is it about? And probably we can replicate this initiative in Colombia somehow. So I leave you with him. Before that, sorry, Margus. I'm going to recommend you, if you're listening in English and your mother tongue in Spanish, you can listen the podcast in YouTube with both English or Spanish subtitles. So, para las personas que nos están oyendo y no manejan completamente el inglés, pueden escucharnos en YouTube y dentro de la plataforma están los subtítulos tanto en inglés como en español. Así que pongan los subtítulos on. So, okay, Margus, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, very briefly, tell us about yourself, how you ended up here in Exeter and who you are.
Yes, so my name is Margus Menert, and I'm an Estonian national who has lived in the UK for the last 10 years. But before settling here, I've always had a very strong interest in food and local food systems. So my family grow a lot of our food by ourselves. And I had opportunity and privilege to work with various sustainable food projects across my travels also in South America and in Caribbean, where I was one of the pioneers setting up the Richmond Vale Academy, a sort of center of self-sustainability in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And here in the UK, I've done a degree in biochemistry followed by a master's in food security. And during my master course, I became more deeply interested in ideas of food sovereignty. I went to the European Food Sovereignty Forum, got a very good grasp of how the veg box schemes and community-supported agriculture have been operating, what's the sort of potential and the purpose. And that event coincided with a call from the National Students' Union Student Eats program to fund students setting up veg box scheme on campuses. So I put these two ideas together, and with a small group, we started launching the veg box scheme on the Exeter University campus 1 year ago. And the planning process took nearly 6 months, but we did start trading in March, and since then we have delivered about 2 tons of vegetables on campus. We worked with 4 suppliers who are all organic, local, ethically minded, green-minded people. All the veg mainly comes from a farm which is less than 5 miles away. We've sold mushrooms from an urban farm using waste coffee grounds 1 mile away. We have sold blueberries, which are a bit further away, like 20 miles in Dartmoor, but they are delivered by the farmer without any extra carbon mileage, because he works in the university as well.
So, in a nutshell, what is Veg Share?
Yes, so Veg Share is a scheme, volunteer-powered social enterprise supported by the University of Exeter Students Guild, which aims to deliver organic, affordable, same-day harvest to the community and change the food system by short-circuiting the long supply chain, give farmers fair prices, reconnect people with the food. We provide recipe cards, we have various sort of cooking events, we encourage people to grow food. We are taking people to the farm. We have just started our own growing sites as well. It's a big, gigantic mission how to change the food system, and we try to approach each of the little bits as much as we can, but the main activity at the moment for the project is to bring the highest quality produce to the students, and with very, very, very cheap pricing, and that also makes it available for anybody in the community, especially the ones who have less money. They can't, I mean, nobody can get as cheap organic veg possibly in this entire country than you can get from Veg Share.
Yeah, and I think that everywhere else, organic food is quite expensive. It's getting for new generations harder and harder to get good food. We pay so much to get good food as our grandparents did, so to say. So last week I got the opportunity actually to buy one of the small bags of Veg Share for a very small price, and I've noticed that also the bag is sustainable. So you work in like a very small supply chain, very sustainable organic farm, and also you try to be sustainable in the transportation, the logistics, the packaging, everything around it.
Yes, we're very radical about this.
yeah. Notice
you're
very rigorous in the sustainability of the whole system.
Yes. So first of all, we chose this 1 day drop-off point on Wednesdays. So basically, we get a wholesale delivery from the farm, and then the volunteers they distribute the delivery into veg bags, and then the people who have an opportunity to pick it up in the afternoon. So, but we chose that one particular day because that was the day when the farmer was also making like the other main wholesale delivery. We are now the largest wholesale customer for this farm. So so we were quite happy with that aspect. But now the Exeter City Futures, which is kind of aligned with the transition movement, they have just supported the start of a company called Cargo, which is a bicycle-powered cargo transport. And at the moment they have this one large bike. So we have actually made inquiries to make sure that our veg is actually delivered completely carbon neutrally by a bicycle. So that's something we are looking into. But when it comes to the bags are designed to be kept in a circulation. So we also challenge the linear production model. We are having great difficulties because we have set the bags at deposit, but they do look quite nice.
We have people that keep the bags with them.
Yes, we have a lot of them.
I know. I have that in mind. I have to return my bag.
Yes.
So you won a prize last year. Tell us about the achievements, including that one.
Yes, so out of all the, I believe, 59 projects supported by the Students Guild, some of them are just events, some of them are ongoing, longer projects. We got the award for the Best Student-Led Project of the Year.
Congratulations, by the way, again.
So, and that obviously has helped with the publicity. A new Student Eats program that supports us has selected us as one of their model case studies, which they have been using everywhere. Now, a very similar food co-op called Penryn Produce is about to launch in the other campus of Exeter University. They have modelled pretty much all their operation based on us. So we have advised them on every aspect. So the bag system, the distribution. They have also been here sort of working alongside us, seeing how it all works, the pricing, etc. So portion sizes, what to put in the bags, how to approach and what kind of people to approach. So it's quite sort of nice and loose enough replication of the model, which is...
Yeah, that was my next
happening.
question,
Yes.
actually. So you're documenting what you're doing. There's people documenting what you're doing so it can be replicated somewhere else on the planet.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's the idea. So we've also been in touch with Food Exeter, formerly known as the Exeter Food Network, where Students Guild Green Unit and Veg Share are members. And they have approached us to develop the food hub strategy as part of Exeter's application to become sustainable food cities. So, and they envisage, and the farmer as well, that this sort of local food volunteer powered distribution hubs, they could be rolled out in places like schools, kindergartens, other types of work collectives where basically one person would be in charge of ordering the wholesale delivery. With a bit of volunteer input, it would be quite easy to allow, let's say, 15 members of staff, which could equate to 15 families, to get their weekly highest quality local produce from there. And besides that, our farm, being in Europe, our farm is very good when it comes to coping with the hunger gap. So we do have produce available all year round. So which is all.
So you have grown a lot in a very short period of time, just a year.
Yes, yeah,
That's
and the first veg bags they were picked up by the customers on 8th of March, and since then we've been running every week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the changes start when we do our requests online. The product, right? What's it called? When we set the request online, we pay for it online in the Veg Share side.
You mean the payment system?
Yeah.
So for the ordering,
but we don't pay.
Yes.
Right away. We put the order. We set the order, and then what happens? So
basically, the way the ordering system at the moment works is like due to some logistical and cost reasons, because we charge a very, very small markup on the price. We have not been able to afford to have card payment, and we have not been able to afford to have a fully functional website with online payment system. So, but what we are using for allowing people to place orders at their convenience is a website called Open Food Network. which is, again, it's a volunteer-led, volunteer-powered, community-powered, online collaborative. It's registered as a community interest company and a cooperative where all the members across the UK and the world, because they started off in Australia, are co-developing, co-investing on the pay-as-you-feel basis to have a very simple, easy-to-use online platform to facilitate these alternative short-chain food production models. And what it is all about is allowing the farmers and producers have security of how much is bought and efficiency in the logistics. The way the Open Food Network and us operate is that customers would order via order cycles, which for us are weekly. So at any point of time, customer can choose which order cycle they would like their order for. So that gives enough assurance that, compared to farmers market, where farmer would have to just guess how much produce to bring and then make efforts to sell it, tackle with issues like food waste, paying maybe staff members extra to sell it, spend more money to package things neatly. So all these sort of extra operational costs are avoided when ordering local food is done via ordering order cycles. And that's what we do. And the website at this stage hasn't asked us for any contribution. So what also we find is that because we haven't been sort of wealthy enough to have the card payments set up yet, but it is in the pipeline, people have been able to place the orders there, but they would still physically need to bring the cash to the stall, but before they actually get the produce, because the pre-ordering, again, helps to make sure that there is no food waste. And that process has helped to ensure that we have a very good personal relationship with almost all the customers. So we've got about 230 customers so far.
Already, yeah.
And maybe at the moment, averagely about 35 order each week, which is comparable with most of the community-supported agriculture schemes in the Southwest. So, and many of them, they have been established for a very long time. We are the only sort of community-supported agriculture scheme-inspired sort of retail operation, which doesn't include growing. But we are also looking into the growing side anyway.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's quite an achievement in just 1 year. Amazing, really. So my next question would be challenges, but we already have noticed one. That is the card payment, the online payment, but that's on the way. What other challenges are you facing in the future?
So obviously we've been relying on the student community. So there is a lot of transience in terms of people's availability to help us and other commitments and how they take best out of their student life, which means that we've had to recruit people continuously and constantly since the start. So we've had around at least 40 volunteers who are like somewhat committed, and few, maybe another 40 or so people who have helped us occasionally. So that needs to be addressed. That we are always actively looking for people. There's also all the help to the project is also on the no minimum commitment basis. People do as little or as much as they feel. But if we wouldn't have this constant drive for recruitment, the project could dwindle quite quickly. So that's definitely a challenge, how to find people. Another challenges are the hunger gap. So for our farm, February and May are the ones and are the periods when the product selection is lowest. That's also the time when many, especially community-supported agricultures, they may not have any produce at all. So, but our selection does get a little bit repetitive. But that is something we managed to overcome nicely. Then other challenge is like we are trying to figure out how to expand and grow to the city, because we want to reach to the segments of the society who have like real difficulties to the access of food. So which means that we would really need to operate the hubs in more impoverished areas and find a way how to reach out to such people.
The city in Exeter.
Yes. So rather than the somewhat wealthy student population. But obviously it's good to be here as well, because we've seen it sort of big at the front line that we are continuously educating people about the food. And for me it's a great surprise that, there are people who see a pumpkin for the first time and they literally have no idea what to do with it, or even more basic vegetables. So that education needs to take place, because that is, the people who graduate universities, they will have impact in the society, etc. And if they're not able to actually cook for themselves, they can't advocate for any sort of deeper, more sustainable causes. They would rather be the persons who will just be eating in the restaurants, who would accept existing long supply chains, who would perhaps eat ready-made meals. Yes. Yeah. So I think we are still useful, because the education is lacking.
I still have my pumpkin. So we're running out of time, and I want to deal back to something you said. And you traveled to South America. Which countries did you know in South America?
Well, I was very briefly in Trinidad, which I don't remember much about. I spent 5 months in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Caribbean, and then I also spent half a year in Venezuela in 2006 and 2007, where I had an opportunity to travel extensively on the north coast and a little bit in the Andes. I could see the missions of the Bolivarian government in action. I've seen the large community garden set up in the center.
The golden years of Chavismo.
Yes, that was the year when the foreign debt was completely paid off, and the oil price was at its peak, and they seemed to be having lots of sort of investments poured into public goods and services at the time. Yes.
Yeah, golden years. So you know a bit of Spanish, so probably to close this interview, would you like to give a message to Colombia in Spanish?
Saludos para todos, y quiero que podemos construir una sociedad más justa.
Yeah.
Y sostenible.
Very good. Thank you so much.